Yeah. So my background's in banking and housing. And I will say that's not at all why I was running. So when I was campaigning, housing's obviously a big need. But I did housing finance, so I know a lot about affordable housing finance. I know about, credit access and market stability. But really the things that animate me are based on the fact that I'm a dad and I worry about the future of our state and our country. And so when I was campaigning, I campaigned really on, the idea that we need to invest in long-term priorities in this country. And so there's a saying from the Greeks, I always quote it, everybody in my district gets tired of hearing this, but a civilization is great when its elders plant trees whose shade they know they will never sit in.
Right.
And to me, that saying encapsulates how America used to govern. And it's really, we've gotten away from that. Everything in this, when you talk to foreigners, people in other countries, they all think America is like the most short-sighted. We think in nanoseconds today. And that's true of our policymakers too. And we need to get back to long-term thinking and planning. And that means, fighting climate change, investing in education and infrastructure. And those are really the things I want to focus on. I will say that because those are complicated areas, and I don't want to come in and put up a bunch of stupid bills, we didn't really put up a lot of aggressive stuff this year because I want to sort of, you get thrown in. We take office in December, we really start in January, and you're right in the middle of bill season, right? You're supposed to put up all your bills. It doesn't give new legislators really the time to be thoughtful to try to come up with your package. And so for this year, I kind of view this as my homework year, trying to figure out what I want to do and where the right levers are and where we're trying to be redundant of stuff that already exists. But ultimately, I want to make my mark in trying to help facilitate investment in green innovation, because I feel like California has done a great job of creating mandates for decarbonization, for reaching zero emissions. Where we, I think, have work to do is to helping the private sector through public-private partnerships, direct investment in research, and other ways that government can help the private sector in trying to just, create that battery technology, create, more efficient solar or hydrogen or carbon capture, whatever we're talking about, so that we can actually meet those mandates, so that we can actually not only get to zero emissions here, but help the rest of the world do that as well. And that creates good jobs. So that's something I'm looking at on climate. On education, another long-term project is trying to get college down to ideally debt-free or at once upon a time, not too long ago, we had zero tuition for the UCs and CSUs. That may be a pipe dream, but how do we move in that direction, right? And so that's something I want to look into in the next few years. So I sit on the Energy Committee for the first priority. I sit on the Budget Subcommittee for Education for the second priority. Then, for me, housing and transit are going to be important going forward. So I sit on the Transportation Committee. I think I would love to see us start to be really innovative in thinking about alternatives to driving, because as California continues to grow, or maybe we don't grow, but I think one of the challenges to our growth, one of the reasons people left last year was just the cost of living. And that to some degree is around transit and housing infrastructure. We're the original car culture. That's why we have all these highways, but, nobody likes being stuck in traffic. And if you go back to the 50s, you watch Mad Men, it's great if you could just drive around and not worry about, because we didn't know about carbon emissions back then and there was no traffic. So it's fun, right? And now you're sitting in traffic and it's horrible and we know it's bad for the environment. So what are the alternatives we can make to that to get people out of their cars? That's something I think we need to be thoughtful about.